just to give all right, so I'm going to go right ahead and share my screen so that I'll try and cover everything. And if we have questions at the end, we will just I'll respond to that and then we can, because we're going to be back here tomorrow for the first. Okay. So this is presentation. So I hope you can see my slide. Get this.
Yeah.
All right. So as you know, we've been bombarding everyone on social media, emails, and in the Facebook group. The 2025 block of the month is tagged I Love Africa. Um, so one of the things I talked about while brainstorming the idea for this year was skill building. I felt that was so important, to have to have a chance to develop a well-rounded repertoire of quilting skills. And so I do not trust myself a good teacher enough. And I didn't want us to go back to the YouTube video hunt that we did in 2022 and 2023, I believe. Nancy, you would know, Miss Valerie as well. Um, and I just really wanted to give an enhanced experience because we've been through so much. We have actually learned so much, but there's just something about personal, being taught personally, that would um would just make it fun, you know? And I also thought that maybe everyone has had a little bit too much of me. So naturally, my thoughts just went to Sue. And so I reached out to her and said, Sue, I'm having some challenges with the 2025 block of the month. This is what we want to do. We try to learn in a fun way, you know. And so Sue, being the expert that she is, gave me a quilt that, hey, I was afraid. I said, no, this is too much. This is too much for now. Give us something that is a little fun, a little easy. So I pled for easy on your behalf. I'm sorry if you wanted difficult. We can arrange for that next year. But I pled for not easy. Well, not easy in that sense, but something that wouldn't make us feel like we were training for a marathon, just something that we would want to get together. And you know how we do. We're just casual and friendly and all of that. So she created this pattern and she tagged it I Love Africa. And it's a flexible pattern, that at the end of it all, I think you're going to love, because one of the things that we want to do in celebrating African fabrics is create conversation starters that people would look at and they'll be like, oh, it will showcase the fabrics, it will be interesting. And I certainly think this is one of the patterns that would do that. And also, so it is a mystery. We've never done a mystery. I've wanted to do a mystery. I've followed other people's mystery quilts online, and I'm like, oh, how would it feel to just do a block at a time? But the first session we're having is all about fabric selection, so that whatever you select, what she'll take us through, so that whatever you select is going to make sense throughout the period, of quilting. So I'm going to go right into it and just give a brief history of the Block of the Month club. So back in 2020, remember that Quilt Africa started in 2017. Um, I was so thirsty in every ramification of that word. Thirsty it means so many things now. So anyhow you think of thirsty, I was so thirsty to learn more about quilting and the quilting community and the things they did in that atmosphere of quilting. And so one of the things that really um excited me was the block of the month, because I used to imagine, what do people do in the block of the month? you know I just used to have so much imagination. And so because it was kind of like difficult to find a block of the month that revolves around African fabrics, I decided to start one with no idea what happens in the block of the month. And so I put out a notice and say, look, I have no idea what happens in a block of the month, but I want to organize one around African fabrics. Who is game? Who is willing to join and teach me, you know? So, I mean, the most amazing group of ladies, I think about 30 of them signed up and they taught me. They taught me what to do. Okay, so this is what happens in my block of the month. This is what happens in one, I joined the other. So somehow we were able to pull together and create monthly, come up with blocks. I think it was a strictly collaborative effort. You know, we would decide the blocks, we would talk about the pros and the cons, we would figure out how to make it. And so it was, I'm forever grateful to those group of ladies that and most of them were really experienced quilters. So I think God just sent them my way to help me, you know. So we did that in 2020 and it was quite successful. At that time, it was block of the month with fabrics, but with the prohibitive cost of shipping, you know, by 2021, I think we also ran with fabrics for 2021, but by 2022, we decided to just separate, keep the cost low and separate the block of the month community with fabrics and made that optional. Because by then I now discovered that people had obscene amounts of fabrics at home. And then there was no point sending more fabrics. I really wanted people to get into their stash, you know, and begin to create. So after 2020, 2021, I wasn't quite satisfied with the traditional block of the month, where you just come and you pick a block and you just create it and that's it. And so that was when, in 2022, connecting the dots between African patterns and quilting was birthed, because I felt it was important to preserve the uniqueness of African fabrics, connected to the culture, connected to the traditions, connected to the stories. Because at the start of Quilt Africa, I promised that was what I promised myself that was what I was going to do. It's not enough for you to hold the fabrics, but I just wanted everyone to have a more intimate experience with the fabrics and the traditions and the culture behind it. And so in 2022, we started connecting the dots, and we would create a pattern and it would reflect the story of the story behind the pattern. And the interesting thing was that honestly, between 2022 and 2023, we found so many similarities. You could literally see African patterns that were quilting blocks. If you think about the leaf in African, and I tried to like explain what it was, the significance, and then certain cultural beliefs attached to those patterns. So I think 2022 and 2023 were really one of the best years for me, because I got to tell the story. I got to share so much culture among several tribes from the West, East and Southern Africa. And so in 2023, I attempted to also spotlight African artisans who also, like, we had the potter lady, we had the building guy, the mud building guy, and then there were others scheduled, but the logistics of it became a little bit too much for me. So I scrapped that and I decided not to do that. And of course, you know, last year we worked with the African Safari, which was also a huge success, I think, in my opinion, because it just, the meeting point of the creating the animals, the collage, for those who were able to, the paper piecing, everything just came together, you know, and the collection that everyone made has just been amazing. So I know in the next 2-3 months, when everyone finishes theirs, it's just going to be an amazing collection of an African safari story. And so in 2025, our focus is skill building. We want to make sure that every month highlights a skill that you can practically do, you know, that you can actually, we've created blocks that have highlighted skills, but we did not highlight the skill within the block. But in 2025, it's different. You're highlighting the skill and then you're connecting it to the actual action of creation, so that you know that every question, every knowledge that you need to know about that skill, you have the opportunity to learn about it because we have a quilter in residence who is Sue, who is available in the community portal, ready to answer questions, ready to just hold everybody's hand within the monthly sessions that we will have to explain everything. So I just wanted to give that overview and brief history. So the Quilt Africa Fabrics block of the month, born out of my, when you grow up without food, you tend to appreciate food a lot. So I think for me, that's what the block of the month is. The whole Quilt Africa thing for me is because I'm in a place where I just don't get that quilting community or resources or the quilt shop down the road or in the next city or take a drive. It's just not there. So I'm very clear about what I want to provide within Quilt Africa. You know, one of the things is skill building. I want to make sure that if you want to, there's no reason why you shouldn't. If you want to quilt with African fabrics, there's no reason why you shouldn't. And that's why we go from easy collages like the African map to more complex things like the Be Madly Modern Challenge now that we're hosting. And that's also the focus of the block of the month. Make sure that you learn, you just have the opportunity to be in a group where people are all doing it. And so it's easy for you to also join in. And another thing is, I always say you have to learn the fabrics for yourself. A lot of the things that people do, they will tell you you have to use maybe Tulsa pink fabrics. They'll give you the code, everything. And so everything is laid out for you. But honestly, African fabrics, I think the best way you can use them, whether you're a dressmaker or you are a crafty person, or a quilter, the best way for you to use African fabrics is for you to learn the basics for yourself. That will enhance your individual expression so that you're not using someone else's rules. You can create your own rules. This is what I like. This is what I do not like, and you give yourself permission to be inspired by something that does not cross your mind. And I think for me personally, in the Quilt Africa tribe, that's one of the things that has really inspired me. Oh my God, I didn't know I could do that just by seeing someone else's. And so it expands you in ways that other fabrics won't, and working by yourself doesn't. So the block of the month encourages you to have your fabric freedom. Learn the fabrics, learn the use of fabrics, learn how to put together impactful fabrics in your project so that it blows up and it stands out. Sometimes you find when we do a challenge and maybe I share the same set of fabrics, the way some people use it is always more unique than the way other people use it. And that's because they have become more attuned to the fabrics. They have made the connection between my personal preference and the characteristics of the fabrics. And so they're able to bring those two together and use it to express themselves in a really wonderful way. And so another thing I try to do with the block of the month is also just create variety. Make sure that each month the blocks are not monotonous. Even with the African safari that we just concluded, I tried to mix up the animals, so that you would, and honestly, it came out really well. From the patterns of the giraffe, we could have gone zebra and other pattern animals, but we just tried to keep it fluid, keep it fluid, keep it diverse. All of that is with the mind to say, how do you want to express that with the fabrics that you have on hand? And I think everybody did a fantastic job. Flexible design. You've seen how we're putting together our African fabrics. Some are just wall panels, some are educational books, hanging things that the kids can play with. It's just diverse. And that's also really important because quilting should be personal to you, to your environment, to your expression, to your needs. And then, of course, one of the fundamental things about the block of the month is the community and the support. So if you talk to me now about the Quilt Africa Fabrics Tribe, I know we have the email list, the newsletter, we have the Facebook group, We have those that follow us only on YouTube. We have others that I have no idea. I just see maybe they purchase in the store. But if you really want me to talk about a cross-section of the Quilt Africa tribe, it definitely has to be the block of the month because we're here and we're interacting one-on-one and we know about each other. We know sometimes the challenges we're going through. We know the victories. We learn so much about each other. And so for me, it's also a community, a place where maybe sometimes you see a little of my crazy side or, my funny side or not so funny side or all of that. That's strictly in the block of the month. All other forums, I'm trying to be proper. I don't always succeed, but all other forums, I'm trying to be proper. But, in the block of the month, I am totally free. And so that community and that support, that we find in the block of the month for me is a cross section. It just encapsulates what the Quilt Africa tribe is. And I hope that for everyone who has passed through the block of the month, especially in recent years, that has been your experience as well. If you show up for the meetings, if you are engaged with us, definitely I think you can say that you find community and you find support as well. You get inspired by what other people are doing. You share your progress. You get tips. You get inspired. You ask questions. I wasn't there the last block of the month meeting, but that Lisa ended up hosting. But I was coming in and out, and I was just hearing the conversations, people asking questions, giving feedback. And so for me, that's really what the Quilt Africa block of the month is about. And so this is what this is. So the last packet of fabrics that I shipped over to Sue had this really vibrant red, yellow, and black. And sometimes I look at fabric and I'm wondering, what can I do with this? But clearly she had no problems. She picked that out of her stash, and she has created certain elements with it. And so this is what it's about. Fabric choice, use of the fabric, putting together the fabrics, fussy cutting, paper piecing, stitching. This is what it's all about for this 2025 Block of the Month program. You just get to get into her head and see her process. So I found out during the course of the years, there are some people who just have an affinity with the fabrics. Somehow it's like it's inborn. They just connect with the fabrics and they just seem to shine. Sue is one of those people. She has created at least 5 or 6, 7 projects with Quilt Africa, and her exceptional use of fabric, it always stands out. And so I'm really excited to have her just lead us through. Now, if you look at the bottom photo on the left, I really disliked that fabric, that red one with the white stuff. Oh, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I was like, if this found its way in my stash, I'm giving it out. Now, because I know she has a magic touch with fabric, I sent it to her and see how she has used that to border the edge of this. And I'm like, oh, this actually looks nice. But for the life of me, when I got that in that batch, that supply batch, I was like, oh my God, what kind of fabric is that? But she uses it with the yellow, vibrant yellow, and it just it lifts it up because it's on its own, it's really dull. I think it's dull. But the yellow and the red just lifts it up and it elevates it, and then it also tones down the yellow and the red. So I think we're in for a fantastic ride this year because she is her length of experience. So we want to explore designs. We want to explore the design that she created, the templates as well. We want to explore skills, like I said. We just want to explore method and technique. So if you have joined the Block of the Month this year, or if you're going to join in subsequent months, I advise that as much as possible, you try and be there live for when she teaches, because that's when you get answers to certain things that have been plaguing you, because she has the experience and she actually has the know-how. I don't think I've ever asked her a question that she didn't know what to do or how to improvise or how to get the results that you want. So it's not just a block of the month of creating. It's a journey. I think it's at the end of the day, it's going to be a validation of your quilting skills, because now you're being matched with someone who knows what they're talking about, who has done that. So it's going to be like a validation to say, oh, this is my method, and whatever her response is going to make you feel like, oh, okay, so yeah, I've got it right. I have been getting it right. So for me, I think that's what this this year's block of the month is, with Sue in charge. I can confidently say that. Because I want to give a little background on Sue. I know I've said the story a lot of times, but there's no Quilt Africa story without Sue. I shared my quilts, my 9-patch quilts in the group. And so she writes to me and she says, oh, well done. Love your fabrics. Keep doing what you're doing. And so somehow we started chatting very frequently. And I think that post got over 200 comments and likes. And she says, people are really going crazy over your fabrics. And a lot of people are asking that you should ship it to them. Some were saying exchange. I should have exchanged a lot for chocolates or something at that time. I was just a bit shy because I was new to the whole thing. But I should have listened to them and just asked them, okay, chocolates for fabrics, or something like that. But I didn't. But she kept saying, go ahead and go ahead and start. And I'm like, so this is like way over my head. I don't even know how I'm going to start setting up the whole structure of being in Abuja and not even being a quilting, a real, I mean, at that time I was like, oh my God, I'm not even a real quilting person. But she encouraged me and she said, if you decide to do this, just know that I'm going to be there. I'm going to hold your hand and I'm going to put you through. And I said, so are you sure? She said, yes. And so I said, okay, let me think about it and then I'll get back to you. So within 2 weeks, I had done my research and decided it's worth a shot. They say you only regret the things that you have not done. So I went ahead and within 2 weeks, I had set up Quilt Africa Fabrics. And so I said, hi, Sue, I'm back. I've decided to do it. And here are some links I want you to look at, some of the things that have come together. And she couldn't believe it. She was like, what? I said, yeah, but you said you would help me. Yeah, but I didn't know you were going to do it so fast. So I'm like, does that mean you're not going to help me? She said, no, I'm going to help you. I'm just shocked. So we had that back and forth and she coached me and she taught me a lot. We were actually having Zoom classes, teaching me how to quilt and all of that. And so I always say that without Michaela, who sent me my first quilting set of cutting mats and rotary, the cutter, the mats, and the rulers. There's a gift rotary set with the 18-inch by 12, I think, cutting mat. She just sent it to me because I said I used only my tape, the whole thing. And so I can't really talk about Quilt Africa without Sue or Miranda Rowland or Michaela, because they were right there. They were encouraging me. And Sue really took the lead because she really put me through. And so I know what she's capable of. And that's why I'm so excited, because of the personal connection that I have with her. She's been quilting since she was in high school. She has her own website, Duck Creek quilting, and she has put out so many patterns. She has collaborated with Quilt Africa. She's like a part of it. And so if for nothing else, if not because you are enamored of Quilt Africa fabrics, I think just having Sue for a teacher is kind of like once in a lifetime experience, especially if you are also curious. You also want to go beyond. I mean, this is a good time to be like a teacher's pet, to want to go beyond the syllabus, as we call it here in Nigeria. We have people who will read everything and then they go beyond the scope of the term's work, the semester work. So this is a good time to do that beyond what we have outlined for the block of the month for 2025. Sue is going to like absolutely help you. It's just a time to grow your skills and be inspired and just she opens up your mind to say, look, you can do it this way. It doesn't have to be that way. So just to share what the block of the month is this year, as it's always been, there are 12 monthly teaching sessions. Every first of the month, traditionally, is when we host it. There are times where we shift it. If it falls on a Sunday, definitely, we do not hold it on the first. Other times, if certain commitments on my end, that I cannot get out of, especially personal with my kids and stuff, we change it to the second or to the third. But traditionally, all our pattern reveals and our monthly teaching sessions fall on the first of every month. And then you have the exclusive block of the month community access. We have both a Facebook group and the community portal, where you get to share your work, you get to ask questions, you get feedback, and you then find inspiration as other people post what they have been doing. You take inspiration from their fabric choices, their color choices, and even the methods, that they use in creating. And of course, we always have recorded sessions as much as my internet allows me. And the recording is good. The interactive sessions, I make sure that those are recorded and uploaded for you. In situations where the recording is so bad, then I record alone and make sure that you have that information. So these are the 3 things that I can promise you will get once you are a member of the block of the month. This live session, the pattern, in this case, instructions, the community where you can get to ask questions or just show what you have or just look at what other people have, and then the recordings that allows you to do things at your pace. In the past 2 years, I think we have been anything from 75 to 100 members. But I think for all our live sessions, we barely have up to 20. But behind the scenes, a lot of people just watch the recordings. Oh, Miriam, I watched the recordings, or when is the recording coming out, and all of that. So we actually have like 50 to 80 people at any given time who watch these recordings, so that that even if your schedule does not allow you to attend the live sessions, the recordings are there for you to access for as long as you are a member. But the minute you choose not to be a member, access is cut off. So that's one thing you need to know about the block of the month. And so for this month, we promise you Sue's insight on fabric selection and cutting. We'll be doing the flying geese. We'll be piecing curves, which I know is something that terrifies a lot of people. It terrifies me. But this block of the month, I'm going to suck it up and really try and get it. English paper piecing and bias strips, half square triangles. We're kind of familiar with that quarter square triangles, which can be a little bit tricky. Applique, which we've actually never done a applique project, like a group project of applique. Foundation paper piecing as well. We've never done that. And then tips on how to lay out your blocks, which is what we've been doing with the 2024. We've had 2 sessions, I think, now on just laying out blocks for the 2024 block of the month. So now Sue is going to give us like ideas on, and maybe there's some higher quilter knowledge about how to lay out blocks. So we're going to learn about that, and also border planning and construction. So now in the past few weeks, I found out that there's proportion. There's a ratio that your border should be to the size of your quilt. Did anyone know that? That you don't just randomly cut fabric to put on your border. For the best visual appeal and aesthetics and balance, there should be a proportion of your whole quilt that should be the size of your border. So those are the kind of things that we're going to learn if you didn't know, like me, So I'm really excited. It's about technique, it's about skill, it's about the proper quilting way. One thing is, if you're a free spirit, you need to know the rules. It's good to know the rules before you break them. So consider this block of the month, that knowing the rules, so that when you step out of the zone of quilt police, you know what to do. You know what it is that they expect. And then if you are just a natural born rebel, then you know what to annoy them with. Yes, you know what to annoy them with. So this block, I think I need to put that on social media. This block of the month is for the rebels. Learn the rules so that you can annoy the quilt queens. That's what this block of the month is all about. All right, so this is how the generally this is how our block of the month works. You choose your membership plan. You want to register monthly? Do you want to register quarterly? Do you want to register on an annual membership plan? If it's monthly, no stress. You register, and every month on the 28th of the month, your membership fee is taken automatically. If it's quarterly, 3 months, you just make payment for your membership at a time. The annual is just one and all, once for all, but it comes with a surprise bundle. It comes with a packet of our best-selling surprise bundle that comes with the jigida, the waist beads. So if you've been doing the annual for some time, you should have like at least 2 or 3 waist beads that you can jiggle your waist and like a true African woman. It just settles on the hips, and it's part of tradition. And so once you choose your plan, you've made payment for your membership, you can now join the community. You begin to receive the emails, notifications from me, resources, and I really encourage you to just be in the community space where the discussions are being held. Sometimes there are information that is not necessarily in the emails, but it's always a great place to have a sense of what other people are doing and what other people are talking about. It's a space to connect. And then each month you receive a pattern or a template, whatever it is that is going on that month. You receive resources for it. You participate in the teaching. In previous months, it's been me talking about giving you the African stories. And then, of course, you join our show and tell as well every end of the month, where they're also recording so that you can have access to it. So now the registration ends tomorrow. Tomorrow is January 9th. So it doesn't open again until February. So if there's anyone watching who has not signed up, please sign up. Or you have to wait till the next round where it opens February 20th so that you can catch. No, it actually opens March. It's not even February. It opens March because March is the end of the quarter, right? So it opens in March so that in April you can start the next quarter with everyone. You don't want to miss the live sessions from 1-2, but even if you do miss it, all the recordings will be in the portal for you to access. And finally, I don't want to go without talking about the Be Madly Modern Challenge. It started officially on the 1st. Our first check-in is in 2 days' time, on Saturday, I think. So we want to talk about fabric selection. By now, we're thinking about our fabrics, our colors. We're thinking about what we want to do. So we just want to have a quick check-in to see where everyone is. So I encourage you, if you've signed up, you receive the email notification. So kindly, yeah. And so now I am happy to answer any questions that you may have concerning the block of the month. I'm going to stop sharing. Thank you so much for your time. Any questions? Hi, Miss Catherine. Happy to see you. Any questions? I think everyone here that is watching live. Yeah. Sorry, Miss Juanita. Miss Lorraine?
So, Miriam, what you're saying is she's going to teach a specific skill, and then we will create a block using that
Yes.
specific skill.
Yes.
Okay.
She's going to create the
Okay.
block with us, or she's going to create the block. She's going to teach us how to create the block, highlight the skill that is embedded into that block, and then it's our skill to learn for life.
Okay. All right.
Hi, Miriam.
Sure.
I have a question. Will you still sprinkle some cultural information or share information about the fabrics and or the designs or the prints that are, I look forward so much to the times when you just give us all this information um that's based in culture and people and yeah.
Well, ideally, now because this is out of my hands, and I'm really grateful because I need the break. This is Sue's show, but I can definitely come up with a theme that
Okay.
that reflects what it means for an African to love Africa, or the reflection of in my language they would call it jealousy for your culture. Like you like your culture so much, which is a theme that is sometimes reflected in when we talk about cultural appropriation, and why for an African, cultural appropriation is a
Yeah.
foreign concept. So if you're talking of I love Africa, for certain cultures, what does that mean? How do they express that love, not just for Africa? Because they say Africa is a Western construct.
Mm.
Black someone like me, I do not know what Africa. I know my culture, I know my tribe. I don't know any other thing. So they say is a Western construct, African. But for me, as a Tangali person, especially having just come fresh from the village, I can tell you what it means for me to love Africa or love my tribe or have a jealousy for my tribe. So we can look at it from that angle, and then we can explore those themes. Yeah.
Yeah, especially considering that your fabrics are rooted in your traditions and culture and tribe, and because they're local,
Yeah.
right? I'm not talking all the African continent,
Mhm.
but just, I don't know. I just find
Yeah.
it fascinating when you talk about the um, the patterns,
Yes.
especially when it was the block of the month where, we were trying to fit a traditional quilt block with, you
Yes.
know,
Yes.
um, in a historical
Yes.
context or a cultural
Yes.
context. So, but I totally get that, this is Sue's show. I'm looking forward to learning so much as
Yeah.
a beginner quilter, and also you need a break. So, yeah.
You need a break. No, but we can certainly. So the thing about my break is you give me 3 weeks and I'm raring to go, right? Like I said, we can actually we can actually look at what does it mean for an African to love Africa, to love Africa.
Mhm.
Now we will tweak that because an African doesn't love Africa. An African loves his culture and his tradition.
Mhm.
Right? So if you ask me to speak love for Africa, my brain will short circuit. But if you ask me to love, to explain how I'm jealous about my culture, I'm possessive, or I'm willing to share my culture, then that kind of makes more sense to me as more than the love for Africa, you know. Yeah. So I think we can look at a few themes that reflect that, because for every culture, there's a ceremony or there's a festival that would talk about, oh, this is our culture and this is what we're celebrating. So we can look at I Love Africa from that perspective, not in the regular way that we do it, pairing, because this is like an original pattern that is not all about traditional blocks. So it will be hard to
Mhm.
fit the stories in that,
Okay.
yes, in those pockets. But we can look at it like, say, maybe pick 5 cultures and then explore what loving their culture means to them. Yeah. So, any other questions? Anything else you'd like to know about the...
Miriam,
Yes, Miss
could
Valerie.
you please check my membership again, please?
You are good, but even if you were not good, I wouldn't take you out. You've been with us forever, so
Okay, I just want to make sure now.
you're okay. If there's anything, I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Hi, Miriam. This is Lorraine, the
So,
portal lady.
are
Um,
you still not able to get in?
well, you know what? When I went to go to the page, it said, join us. So I typed in all my information. It said membership pending.
Okay, so that's on me. I haven't been in today to let
Oh,
people
okay.
in because yeah, I'm just being a little careful. So once a day I try to just get in and admit people in. 'Cause in the past we've had like random, so I don't like to
Yeah.
click anymore. I don't think it's fair to have people who honor their membership and their commitments and then just anyone else just coming in. So I will do that
Thought I'd
before.
let you know. I have history.
So if it says membership pending, you're definitely in. That's on me. So I'll fix
Okay.
that. Yes. Yeah.
So Miriam, I have a question.
Okay.
So you know how I don't know, usually it's a couple of days before we'll get a reminder that the block of the month is coming up, usually that day, 15 minutes before. So I can assume that if I get those emails, then I'm part of the membership. Like I'm good for the
Yes.
block of the month.
Yes. Yes. So if you
So
go,
anyone
well,
getting
no,
those would be
sometimes there's a little bit, especially in the last block of the month, there was a lot of human error where you might
okay.
receive the emails, but you wouldn't be in the group. And I apologize in arrears to everyone who was affected. So please make sure that you both receive the emails and you're able to access the group. That's very important. Not the
Yeah.
Facebook, but the portal itself where the videos are housed.
Yeah.
So please make sure that you both
Right.
receive the emails and you access where the videos, the recordings are stored. If for any reason you do not receive, you hear about the meetings from a third party, then you need to let me know. I should be able to communicate directly with you on meeting times and whatever information about there is about the block of the month. So
Yeah.
in the past few weeks, the past couple of weeks, I've really been trying to streamline the communication to make sure that everything, but I will admit that there has been some bit of human error in some places. But the only way you can help me is your membership is good. You do not receive emails, let me know. You receive emails, you're not in the portal, let me know.
Okay.
Where's the portal? I mean,
The-
I want to check because I'm not sure if I'm on. I don't, yeah.
You should have received an email yesterday asking you
Okay.
to join. So please just go back to your box, like from me yesterday, I think, or yesterday morning, I believe, where it
Okay.
says block of the month member, join the portal before the 9th. You don't want to miss anything. So if you check your spam, for some reason, some people's emails don't just go straight to spam or junk mail. So check your junk email, check your spam, check your inbox. If you don't receive that email, then let me know immediately as soon as possible.
Okay.
You can have that ready.
Thank you.
Okay, so any questions, any comments, any expectations for everyone who is still a current member or has just signed up? Any expectations for this month? Anything that you'd like to see or you'd like to do different? Just let me know. But I think until we meet with Sue, because it's possible you've never sat for any of her. She's been on the summit, I think, twice. But if you've missed that, then we'll just wait till tomorrow. After tomorrow, then I would love to hear your feedback. And so, the first month and the second month are the best times to just tweak whatever we want to tweak so that we just set our course and it's a good ride for the rest of the year. So after tomorrow's session, you just let me know what works, what doesn't work. But I really, the only thing is maybe you might not understand her Australian accent. That's the only thing I can think of. But if you can understand my African accent, you should be able to understand Sue's.
Yeah.
So we're good. So I think we're good.
I do have a question, Miriam, and I'm not sure. It might be, I might need to ask you personally, not with the
Okay.
group. So can you
Yeah.
stay on for a minute
All
after
right, that's
everyone?
fine. I'll do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right then. So, in the absence of any more questions, I will not hold you. Thank you so
Okay.
much for coming, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
To the
Thank
kids.
you.